Devoting this time for yourself. It's so easy to get distracted when we're at home, right? So it's important to, as you have done, lay out this time for yourself, for your practice, to connect with your body and your breath. Noticing the things that come up for you as you settle into this stillness to begin your practice. So before you relax into that stillness, just ask yourself if there's any way to get more comfortable. Shift around in your shoulders. Position your legs in a way that feels good for your hips and your lower back right now. So feel free to keep your knees bent, feet on the ground, or you can bring a pillow underneath your legs and stretch out the legs so that your low back feels a little more supported with that pillow underneath the legs. At any time, though, if you do get uncomfortable, feel free to shift your position. And let your head find center. So turning your head gently side to side, just rolling the head nice and heavily. And then letting it rest in the center. And position your head in a way that lets the chin lower slightly more than the forehead. So this way you find more length coming into the back of your neck. And try to let go of any tension out into the hands. It's a common area of tension for many of us, in the palms and in the fingers. So noticing if that's the case for you, allowing the fingers to curl naturally. And feeling the weight of your shoulders settle towards the ground. As you close your eyes, notice any activity in your eyes. Are the eyes moving around? Often a sort of mirror of the busyness in the mind. So little by little, can you rest your internal gaze down away from any distractions in the mind? Tuning in to feel and sense your body resting here. So start to feel the points of contact your body makes with the ground. Letting those areas soften and settle further down into that support. Feel the wide space of your shoulders, your upper back resting. Notice the backs of your ribs where they make contact with the floor. And feel the width of your pelvis, the center of your body, settled and wide across the sacrum. Relaxing any tension you come across there around your hips. And feel the position of your legs, relaxed and long. Letting go of any tension as well through the ankles, relaxing out into the toes. And let's start to pay attention to the breath. Start by simply noticing the nature of your breath as it is in this moment. The breath is always with us. It's always in the present. So as we tether our mind's eye to the breath, we can stay in this moment, ever shifting, ever changing, and yet here. So feel the natural pace of the breath. Does the breath move quickly or slowly? Just letting it be whatever it is. Notice the natural depth of your breath, whether it feels deep or shallow. Often throughout the day when we're busy or distracted, our breath is shallow and quick, higher up into the chest. It might involve the muscles of the neck and the shoulders, which creates a little bit of tension around the neck and shoulders. So see if you can direct your awareness down into your belly. And feel the softness of your belly. This is a common area of holding for many of us. So it can take a little bit of time for this area to fully relax. So become aware of the space between the ribs and the navel, that solar plexus region. Some people call it our power center. And this is often where knots can come in. This is where the diaphragm moves. So can you feel that space between the navel and the ribs? Notice how it moves as you inhale. Notice how that space moves as you exhale. And maybe with attention, with time, you can feel that area soften a little more to the movements of the breath. Gradually becoming more responsive, more welcoming to your breath. And with each inhale, as you allow your diaphragm to draw down and bring in breath, it moves your organs and lifts your belly. So feel that movement, that lift and expansion of the belly as you let in a deeper breath. And try to ride the wave of the exhale. Often our mind tends to wander with the exhale because it's the passive part of the breath. So can you let the breath leave your body and feel it moving out slowly, gradually, feeling it taper away. Encouraging the exhales to slow down and become more even from start to finish. So instead of letting out all the breath at the beginning of your exhale, try to spread it out. Letting out your breath smoothly and as evenly as possible. Letting it slowly fade out. You might notice the brief pause after the exhale before your next breath comes in. So continue to feel your movements down into your belly with each breath. There's no strain or force to this action, just simply allowing and inviting the breath down deeper into your belly. And letting out the breath just as slowly as it came in, maybe even slower. And with each exhale, you can let that be a reminder to soften a little more, to come back to sense your body's weight settling, letting go of anything you don't need to hold on to here. Now, as you keep this connection with your breath, feel the heaviness of your head, noticing where the back of your head meets the ground. And then let's once again start to roll the head, but try to keep the head nice and heavy and relaxed as you roll it to one side. Nice and slowly, as far as it goes naturally without push or force. And then roll the head back through center just as slowly. And then over to the other side. So as you go really slowly here, you can feel this lovely sort of massage into the back of your head, shifting the weight from behind one ear, nice rolling point of contact, over to behind the other ear. And really bring your awareness into the back of your head so that you feel, instead of turning your face in one direction, you're turning the back of your head in one direction. Just that little shift in perspective might change the movement for you. Rolling the back of your head as though you have eyes on the back of your head wanting to look in one direction, and then slowly rolling the head so the eyes on the back can look in the other direction. Feeling this as you feel your breath, finding a tempo that works for both your movement and your breath together. That's it. And once you've brought your head over to the second side for the last time, you can bring your head back up to center. You can let the eyes open if you like. Let's find a bit of a stretch here. We'll stretch the arms back to the wall behind us. Find some length through the legs to the wall in front. Just get a sense of the whole body, long in both directions. Feel like your tailbone reaches long with your legs, and the neck reaches long back with your arms. Feel a breath here. Good. And then let's go ahead and hug both knees into the chest. And while we're here, we can find a bit of a rock. So this is a nice way to get a sense again of how the hips feel and how the lower back feels, rolling from one side to the other across the back of your pelvis. And you can experiment by bringing your knees a little further away from you to massage lower down on the sacrum, or you can bring your knees closer to you to massage higher to the back of the waist. So wherever you need a little bit of this massage more, you can find that by moving the knees. All right, and then let's start to circle the knees. So keeping the knees together, hands on the knees, let the knees move away on the inhale, and then let them come in towards you on the exhale. And try to slow this movement down. And feel almost like the breath is what's moving you. The breath becomes the fuel for this movement. That's it. And then we can go in the opposite direction, and noticing here as you change direction, Still feeling the breath, moving with the breath's rhythm. Noticing a massage into the edges of the sacrum, all around the back of the pelvis. Good. All right, and then let's hug the right knee in, stretch the left leg down along the floor, and feel the left leg nice and long, resting on the ground. And with this right knee bent, you can hold on to it wherever you comfortably reach with your hands. As you breathe in, let the knee move away from you a little. As you exhale, see if there's a way for you to hug that knee in a little closer, trying not to use the shoulders. So each inhale, as your belly fills, as your lungs expand, your knee moves away. As you exhale and the belly settles and the lungs empty, maybe that knee can come in a little closer. So again, feeling like it's the breath that's moving this knee, this leg. Letting the shoulders continue to rest towards the floor while the neck stays long and relaxed. And then let's keep the right knee bent, rest both arms out to the sides, and we'll start to circle into this right hip. So drawing these circles with your knee. So any movement is good. You can start out with quite a small circle, just getting a sense of the movement into this hip joint. Feeling free to make the movements a little larger, finding maybe your full but comfortable range of motion. So you're not moving through pain. If you notice lots of clicks and catches in the hip, you might slow it down a little bit more, maybe make it a little smaller. All right, and then go in the other direction too. So resting through the shoulders, staying as relaxed as you can through the upper body while you feel and concentrate on the movement happening into the hip. Breath still flowing with this movement. Good. All right, and then let's rest both shoulders on the floor as they are, and we're going to explore a bit of a twisting movement. So what we're going to do is let the right knee fall a little bit out to the right. We might notice a stretch coming into that inner thigh, and then we can bring the knee across, rolling off of this right hip, but resting your head a little to the right so your shoulder stays on the floor. So let's keep that going. As we inhale, we'll come onto the back again, knee out to the side. On the exhale, bring the knee across, lifting that hip to come into a bit of a twist while that right shoulder stays on the floor. So just noticing your own comfortable range both in your hip as well as your spine as you're coming in and out of this twist a few times. Head rolling in the opposite direction of that right knee. Now getting into the back a little bit here as well. Good, and then with your next exhale, let's bring the left hand onto that right knee as we bring the leg across, and we can land into this twist for a couple of breaths. So we can rest the right foot on the bottom leg. Sometimes people find that more comfortable, or you can rest the right foot on the floor in front of that bottom leg. So whatever feels good right now in your hip, in your inner thigh, all of that. Let's just take a moment, maybe turn the head a little to the right, feel the right arm relaxed and heavy out onto the floor. Notice here the breath flowing a little deeper into this right side. Feel the depth of your inhale in. And as you exhale, what can you relax? What can you let go of a little more? Feeling more supported by the ground. Good. And then let's slowly unwind again. Coming back onto the back. And just take a moment to pause in the center. You might bring your feet back to the floor, knees bent, and just take a moment and noticing how you feel here through each side. Okay, let's go ahead and bring both knees in again. And finding some width and some space across your lower back. And then this time we'll keep the left knee in, stretch the right leg along the floor. And let's just pause here, feel the right leg resting on the ground. As you hold on to that left knee, try to relax down through your shoulders. Feel the head heavy and relax through the neck. Then connect with your breath. As you inhale, let the breath come down into the belly, feeling the belly expand. As you exhale, feel the belly settle, feel the lungs empty. Notice the movement of the knee with each breath, moving away from you slightly with the inhale. And coming back in a little closer with the exhale. Any amount of movement is good. Just don't force it. Just notice however much or however little movement is there, with as little tension in the shoulders as you can. Check in with the jaw. Can the lower jaw soften away from the upper jaw, letting the cheeks stay relaxed? Great. And then let's take both arms out like a T shape, palms to the sky. And then we can start to move into this hip. So you can imagine maybe a spotlight coming out from your knee, and you're drawing a little bit of a circle on the ceiling above you. And the circle can be as small or as large as you like, going only as large as feels good in this hip. So this hip could feel quite different than the other one. So get a sense of that. Good. And then we can pause and take those circles in the opposite direction. Primarily trying to feel this movement, for the most part, in that left hip joint, right where the thigh sits into the pelvis. Nice ball and socket joint that has a large range of motion. So many muscles around it. So we're just loosening into that, getting a sense of space and mobility into the hips here. All right, and then let's explore the twist on this side. So keeping both shoulders on the floor, let the left knee first move out a little to the left, noticing maybe a bit of stretch in that inner thigh. Bring the knee across so you can lift that left hip, but try not to lift the left shoulder. So you can turn your head to the left, keeping the weight down into that left shoulder. And then again, opening with your inhale back onto your back. Coming into the twist with the exhale as we lift the left hip, shoulders stay on the floor. So it's nice to roll the head again in the opposite direction of the knee. Noticing how it feels in the back on this side. We're loosening into the back as we come in and out of the twist. And of course, we're still moving into this left hip. Good. And then next time we bring the knee across. Let's take the right hand onto that left knee or left outer thigh, so we can encourage this knee to come down towards the floor. It's not going to get all the way to the ground now. Just let it hover and rest your foot where it's comfortable, on your bottom leg or on the floor in front of it. Letting your head relax a little to the left. Try to feel your left arm release out through the elbow. So notice if there's any grip in the hands or if you're holding the arm sort of stiff straight. See if you can find a little more softness through that left arm. letting the elbow be a little bent, letting the palm and the fingers release. And get a sense of the breath moving into your left side, feeling all that space between your hip and your shoulder, and letting the breath go there. Each exhale, what can you soften? What can you let go of? And find the ground. All right, good. Let's take our time to come onto the back again. And we'll just do a little bit more on the back here. So let's bring the feet to the floor so the knees are bent with the heels underneath the knees. We can connect with the ground through the feet. So what you might even do is roll forward onto your toes, lifting the heels. Roll back to the heels, lifting the toes. Breathing in, breathing out. And then feel the ground through the feet, wide across from big toes to baby toes, rooted through the heels. Let's take the hands to the belly. So with the hands resting on the belly, it can be a nice reminder to relax the belly again. And get a sense of the breath moving into your belly through your hands. You can feel your belly expand and rise as you inhale. And as you exhale, you can feel how the belly softens and settles a little back in and down. And just allowing this to happen on its own, so you're not pushing your belly into your hands, nor are you pulling your belly in with the exhale, just feeling the motions happen with the breath. And as you continue to feel the breath moving into your belly through your hands, bring your awareness to rest at the back of your pelvis. And visualize your sacrum, that lovely triangular bone at the base of our spine, just above the tailbone, just below the back of the waist. And can you feel any small shifts of weight in the back of your pelvis as you breathe here? You might notice as you breathe in, the weight tips a little bit down towards the tailbone. And as you breathe out, the weight settles towards the top of the sacrum. And you might not notice much at all, and that's okay too. This is really subtle work. So let's make it a little less subtle and actively move the pelvis, tilting the pelvis forward on the inhale. So the weight tips down to the tailbone and the lower back starts to arch. And then on the exhale, as the belly settles, the lower back can flatten towards the floor. So each inhale, there's a rolling point of contact down to the tailbone. And then on the exhale, a rolling point of contact to the back of the waist. Rolling down to the tailbone on the inhale, belly expands. Rolling back to the back of the waist on the exhale, belly settles. Just feeling this motion ripple into the rest of your spine. Noticing how the curves in your back change all the way up between the shoulder blades, through the neck, maybe even noticing shifts of weight happening naturally through cause and effect in the back of your head. As you breathe in, tailbone lowers. As you exhale, lower back flattens. Find this motion, maybe smooth it out a little more. Find where the movements turn And can they turn more smoothly rather than sharply? It's almost like the movement becomes more circular in a sense, just like the breath. There's really no beginning or end to the movement, to the breath. That's it. Good, and then take your arms down beside you. Keep this movement going, tipping the pelvis forward on the inhale, tipping the pelvis back on the exhale. So that on your next exhale, we can start to peel the spine off the floor. So let's go slowly. Take the tailbone up, but flatten the lower back first. Squeeze through the glutes, and then lift the lower back. And then lift maybe a little through the low ribs. That's it until the weight shifts into the upper part of the chest, or upper back, I mean. Feel your inhale here in bridge. And then let the length of your exhale roll your spine down from the top, between the shoulder blades, through the lower back, down into the sacrum. And then on the inhale, tip the pelvis forward again. So you're staying on the floor, just finding that arch in the low back. Then with the exhale, flattening that lower back, pressing it into the floor, and start to peel the tailbone up. Lower back lifts, mid back lifts, back ribs, finding bridge. Feel your inhale in bridge. Let the length of your exhale roll your spine down, keeping the tailbone lifted until the sacrum lands first. And then on the inhale, you tip forward again. Find the arch in the low back, tailbone down. On the exhale, flatten the lower back first, peel the tailbone up, and slowly lift the spine from bottom to top. Pausing for the inhale in bridge. And again, letting the length of the exhale roll the spine down slowly back to the floor. Let's go for one more like that, just finding your own pace. Moving to the rhythm of your breath, feeling the motions through your spine. As many vertebrae as you can, get a sense of them. And this time, the next time you lift into bridge, let's see if we can pause into that for a few breaths. So this isn't about lifting super duper high. If it feels good to lift high, go for it. But the idea is to be where you feel still pretty relaxed in this position, where you don't feel like you're working terribly hard. And that way you can stay in touch with the breath a little easier. Can your breath stay in that calm and steady rhythm, just as you were moving with the breath? Can the breath continue to flow easily and calmly while you're holding this shape? While you're finding some muscular effort, can you stay calm and steady with your breath for another cycle or two? And then when you're ready, start to roll the spine down like you're bringing one vertebra at a time back to the floor, like links in a chain, down from the top through each consecutive one, all the way to the bottom. Lovely. Once you get back to the floor, let's bring the arms out wide again. Bring the feet nice and wide apart. And let's go for a slow windshield wiper movement. So taking this pretty slow, finding your inhale here in the center. As you exhale, let's let the knees go to the left and the head to the right. Landing there. And then finding your whole inhale, bringing you back to center with the head and the knees. Letting the whole exhale bring the knees over to the right, head to the left. So can you move slowly, breathing in, feeling like you're rolling, right? Along the back of the pelvis and the back of the head, and then exhaling over to the other side. Finding your range of motion through your hips, allowing the knees to go as far to the ground as they do, as they like, while you feel these movements slow with your breath. Let's go for one more in each direction. Just take your time. Once you've gone to the right for the last time, bring the legs back to center, head to center, and let's go ahead and hug the knees in again. And before we come on up, let's stretch up the legs towards the ceiling, just a comfortable stretch. So just a little, they don't have to be fully straight. And the idea is let's take the arms up as well. So the legs are up, the arms are up, knees can be as bent as you like. You can even do this with knees fully bent. But what we're gonna do is shake. Shake the limbs, shake, shake, shake. Keep the shaking going. You can let out some funny sounds. Shake, 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 wake things up. Find another breath. And then find stillness again. Relax and rest the legs and the arms in whatever position feels good right now. Feel that buzz of energy in the body. Notice how the breath may have changed. Let's give everything another chance to slow down and unwind. Nice way to release some energy. All right, let's hug both knees in again. And then come on over onto your side. Just take a couple breaths there. We have been on our backs for a little while. Okay, and then let's come on up to sitting. And sitting in any position that feels good for you. If you happen to have a couple blocks, what I might suggest, you might not need 2 blocks, but at least one, is sitting like this with the block between your feet and your toes pointing back. And the block can be at whatever height brings you comfort, okay? So with the hips elevated like this, I just find the spine settles into its natural curves a little easier. But of course, if this just doesn't feel comfortable for your knees, for your ankles, for your thighs, your hips, whatever, then come into any seated position that does. It really doesn't matter what position you choose. What matters is you're comfortable. So a cross-legged position is perfectly good. You might want to sit up on a cushion just to elevate the hips a little bit higher than the knees. Yeah, that's how it goes. All right, so whatever position you've found and settled into, see if you can start to feel the sitting bones resting evenly and equally. So shift around and just get a sense of where they settle into that support that's underneath you. Okay, lovely. Let's just take a moment to settle into this shape. So you can rest your hands on your legs, wherever they happen to land. Notice where your shoulders sit and see if they can stay above your hips, maybe rolling them a little bit down and back. Move the head a little gentle twist in each direction. Nodding the head no, and nodding the head yes a few times as well. And then try to feel like your head is balancing over your shoulders. Lots of length up through the neck. That's it. You can close your eyes for a moment and just get a sense of the spine's length. Imagine the spine's length long in the center. As your tailbone feels heavy, resting towards the floor, resting down through your hips, through your sitting bones, imagine the head is light, like a helium balloon, floating up above your shoulders. You're growing taller into the space above you while you're staying connected with the ground, down through the hips. So feel the space above your head as you feel the ground below you, supporting you. And the breath in between those spaces. Good. So let's get a sense of the breath in all directions. So what we're going to do is interlace the fingers together and let the arms just lift out at somewhere around chest height, rib height. And imagine someone's pulling on your arms. As that brings the shoulder blades apart, what you're going to find is your upper back rounding a little bit and your chest and your hands moving away from one another. But keep this easy. So rather than going pushing a lot, see if you can just come into it enough to find a bit of space between your shoulder blades. Trying your best not to shrug up the shoulders towards the ears. So can they still rest? Letting your head fall forward a bit as the arms stretch out in front of you and your back opens. So we can notice here as we're pausing into this shape, sense the breath into the backs of the ribs. Feeling the breath expanding into the back. Feeling that space between the shoulder blades wide. Under the shoulder blades are back ribs as well, so feel that area expanding a little with the inhale. Noticing how it softens a little with the exhale. Good, let's go for one more like that. Feel the breath. Good, and then release the arms. And just find again your upright posture, your head balanced over the shoulders, hands relaxed on your thighs or legs. And now, when you're sitting like this, are you able to feel the back a little better? Noticing the movements of the breath even as you sit upright. And then let's go ahead and take the hands behind us. So we can try to interlace the fingers together. If this doesn't work, if you can't really quite do this comfortably, you can also hold on to, a sweater or something, sock even, behind you. So what you're going to try to do, if you have your fingers interlaced, try to do it the opposite way that you just did. So crossing the other thumb on top, other baby finger on the outside. So it's the other hand on top this time. And let's just move the shoulder blades in towards each other now. So we're closing off a little bit through the back in order to open a little more through the front. So rather than pushing your ribs forward like this and finding the arch in the low back, see if you can keep your ribs over your hips, and then you're going to try to lift your chest. So let's first lower the chin towards the chest as we lift the chest towards the chin. So we're reaching down and back with the arms as we push up and out with the chest. And then maybe we can let the head lift slightly, so it's not about bringing it all the way back like that. We want to keep the back of the neck long, the front of the throat open, and you might even just back it up a little bit so it doesn't impede your breath. The idea is to just feel a bit of space opening through the front. The collarbones are wide, the chest is moving forward and up, but without push or strain. So back it up a little. That's it. Make it easy for yourself where the breath can still move. So take your deepest breaths here. Fill your chest. As you exhale, maybe find a little more softness again. Ease in this position. Letting each inhale expand into the front ribs, front chest. Exhaling, softening a little more, maybe through the neck and the jaw. Let's go for 2 more breaths here. Really nice. Let that go. Whew. Take another moment to pause in the center. Can you feel with each inhale your ribs expanding both into the front and into the back? And then let's connect with the sides of the ribs. So we can, if you're up high, you might want something under your hand if the ground feels kind of far. So let's take the right hand to the bottom of the side rib. So if you can, get it above your waist so your hand is on your rib cage along the side. But keep comfortable as best you can through that right shoulder. So notice if the right shoulder is up like that, see if you can position it away from the ear a little bit. That's it. And then we're just gonna lean just a little bit into this left hand. So letting a bit of a lateral side arc come into the spine. So we can even push the right side of the ribs into the hand a little more. That's it. Not so much that you end up getting a cramp in this side of the body or anything, just enough to find some space into this right side. And so with your hand here, you can get a sense of how this space responds to the inhale. How does it respond to the exhale? Trying to even direct the breath as best you can into that hand. Be careful with the neck. Try to keep both sides of the neck long so you're not letting your head fall all the way over. Keeping the head, the neck in line with the curve of the rest of your spine here. Noticing however much or however little movement you can sense under your hand with each breath. Good. And then start to press down into that left hand as you come up. You're going to once again slide the hands, resting them comfortably. Notice how it feels in your right side compared to your left side at this moment. As you connect again with your breath, how does it feel in each side of your body? Is it any different? Okay, lovely. One more side. So let's bring the left hand above the waist as best you can into the side of that left rib, the left ribs. Okay, so we can lean our upper body a little to the right. Stay comfortable, stay supported in this right shoulder so you're not letting the shoulder shrug up to the ear. So you're finding a bit of support. And then just noticing how this side feels as you open it up. Sort of gently pressing the left side of the ribs into your hand. Opening up that space, sensing the breath. So with as little effort or as little strain as possible, try to see if you can direct the breath, invite the breath into your palm. Does this side feel any different? Usually it does. One side might take the breath more easily than the other. Maybe one side just moves a little more, feels more responsive to the breath. So noticing that for yourself as you feel another breath or two here. Being careful of the head, the neck. Lovely. Sliding that left hand down as you press into the right hand to return to center. So just another breath or two here as we settle in the center in our comfortable seated position. Now are you able to feel your rib basket, as we're now trying to call it in the movement world? Can you feel how it expands not only into the front and into the back, but also out into each side? So there's this 360-degree movement of your ribs, expanding outward in all directions as you inhale, and then narrowing again, drawing back in towards the center as you exhale. And we have muscles between each of the ribs that when they get tight, they impede the movement of our ribs, of our rib basket. So we just open things up a little bit. So you might be able to sense a little more of that motion. All right, lovely. Let's transition now onto our hands and knees. So if you were sitting on a block like I was for a while, you might want to tap the toes. Even it's just a nice way to wake up the toes a little bit as well. Feel free to bring a blanket or pillow underneath your knees. And let's just find the support into the hands underneath your shoulders. And the tops of your feet and your knees resting under your hips. So let's go ahead and move through the curves of our spine once again, just like we were doing in bridge pose. So as you exhale, let's go ahead and hug up and in through the belly, draw the tailbone down, start to press into the hands. So you find that space again between your shoulder blades. And then as we lift the tailbone, let the shoulder blades slide down the back, head lifts as you look forward. And then again, draw the tailbone down towards the knees, press into the hands as you round your back. Finding as you inhale, a little more length and space coming into the belly, the chest, the front of the throat. And then finding that length and space into the low back, mid back, upper back, even the base of the skull as you let the head relax. So going for that motion at your own pace, to the rhythm of your own breath, however it makes sense for you to breathe in this movement. And can you again sense the ends of your spine lengthening away from one another, even throughout this movement? So we're going to add on to the movement a little bit. As you inhale, we're going to lift the tailbone and the head in that dog tilt cow shape. And then on the exhale, look over the right shoulder and try to look towards your right hip. You're going to shorten that side of the waist, shoulder and hip towards each other. That's it. And then as you inhale, come back to center. lifting the head and chest. And then as you exhale, we're going to round the back, round into cat tilt. So let's try that again. On the inhale, open up the chest, lift the tailbone, look a little forward. On the exhale, look over the left shoulder this time, shortening that side of the waist as you find your left hip. And then inhale back to center, head and tailbone lifted. On the exhale, we're going to round again into cat tilt, pushing the floor away. Breathe in again. Let's try it again on each side. Open up the chest, lifting tailbone and head. Exhale, look over that right shoulder, find your right hip. Inhale back to center. Exhale, round the back, cat tilt. Inhale, open again, lifting the tailbone, lifting the head. On the exhale, looking over the left shoulder, finding your left hip. That's it. Inhale back through center. Exhale, round in cat tilt, and let's take that cat tilt back into a child's pose. So in this child's pose, just find as much as you like, a little space between the knees, hands out in front of you or back by your shins. And let's go ahead and stretch both arms actually now out in front of you. And what you might do is bring the knees a little closer so that your head might even stay off the floor. So we're keeping the hips reaching back and down towards the heels as the arms reach out. And let's take the arms over to the left. So we end up finding a bit of space into the right side. So as you press forward and down, especially through this right hand, see if you can keep the elbow off the floor. And feel with each exhale that right hip settling down towards that heel. And you'll notice a bit of space coming into this right side, especially as you try to keep your shoulders level. So notice if one shoulder is lifted higher than the other, find them level again, and you might feel a little more stretch sensation under that armpit area. Let the breath go there for another cycle. Really nice. With your inhale, let's come back to center, and then exhale over to the other side so that you find and feel the space and length through your left side of the body or the other side of the body. Resting down and back into that left hip, both hips heavy towards the heels as we're long, stretching out, pressing down into the hands. Noticing how this side feels. Where do you sense some length, some stretch? And let the breath go there. Really nice. Let's inhale back up onto hands and knees in front. And we'll take a brief downward dog. So let's send the hips up and back. Stretch down and back through those heels. And you might even pedal out your feet and feel a bit of movement, a bit of stretch coming down through your calves. Really nice. And then let's go ahead and either walk the feet back to the, hands back to the feet or feet forward to the hands. A little combo of both is fine as well. Until you have all the weight in your legs. Dangle the upper body. Get heavy through the head. We're going to roll our spine up and then we're going to roll it down again. So we're going to go really quite slowly. So feel the support of your feet. Let the arms dangle loosely and heavily. Let the head feel heavy too. You might bring your chin a little closer to the chest. With the knees a bit bent, let's press down through the feet. So feeling the support of the legs. And then as you exhale, we're going to hug up and in through the belly. Draw the tailbone towards the heels. We're rolling the spine up through the low back, through the middle back. Take it even slower than you think. rolling up until the ribs start to stack above the hips, and then the shoulders come above the hips, and then finally the head. Pausing at the top. Maybe we'll open the palms to face out and lift the arms up, breathing in. Exhale, release the arms back down beside you. Let the arms just relax and hang from the shoulders. And then we'll go in the reverse. Draw the chin towards the chest. Feel like you have a weight on the top of your head pouring down towards your toes. The arms are just heavy, so let them go. That's it. And go nice and slowly through that upper back, through the middle back, slowly through the lower back. The lower you get, the more you're going to want to likely bend your knees, so go for that. And allow for as much of a forward bend as your body lets you go. Be there for another breath. Really nice. And then again, feel the support of your feet. Find the hug up and in through the belly. You're using that control through the core to draw the tailbone down and stack the spine one vertebra at a time. Imagine you can do that. Moving from the bottom to the top. Finding the head coming up last. Keep it heavy until it's the last thing to come up. Open up the arms, and when you're ready on the inhale, lift the arms overhead. And then on the exhale, reach the arms wide and down again. Relax the arms by your sides. And we'll roll the head forward, chin to the chest. Feel that movement come down the neck, into the upper back as you envision that weight on your head pouring down to the floor in front of your toes. Arms are dangly. You're not even reaching for the ground. You're just feeling this movement through your spine, all the way down as far as it feels good in your back, bending your knees to keep it comfortable in your legs. Release forward. Feel another breath here. Good, nice. Now start to walk the hands forward or the feet back to once again return into your downward dog shape. Settle into the breath. Good. Let's lower the knees to the floor, and we'll come again to a sitting position, any comfortable seated position, to end with a bit of a breathing practice. We'll do alternate nostril breath. So if you need to blow your nose, now's a good time. You want to have both nostrils clear. And if that's not the case for you, just let yourself be here with a mindful breath. Okay. So traditionally it's done with the right hand closing the nostrils. So I'm going to do that. And you can let the left hand, if you want, rest on your lap, palm to the sky. And we can take the thumb and index fingers to touch, letting the other 3 fingers gently point away from us. So let's rest the first 2 fingers, our peace fingers here, on the bridge of the nose, and we can let the thumb very gently rest on the right nostril, just touching it, not closing it. And the ring finger and baby fingers can be sort of together, almost like they're one, and you can rest the ring finger on your left nostril. So very, very gently, just letting the hands, those fingers, touch each side of the nose, keeping the nose open. Resting your right elbow on your body, on your chest, in a way that helps to relax into that shoulder. So start out by just feeling and sensing yourself as you sit here, noticing the breath. Find a deep breath in, find a long breath out. Whatever rhythm works for you. So you're not trying to make the breath any longer or deeper than it naturally wants to be. Okay? And then we'll begin. Close the right nostril, inhale through the left. Closing both to pause. And then exhale through the right nostril. Inhale again through the right nostril. Close to hold. And then exhale through the left nostril. Inhale left. Hold. Exhale right. Inhale right. Hold. Exhale left. Inhale left. Hold. Exhale right. Inhale right. Hold. Exhale left. Keep it going at your own pace, finding a rhythm that suits you, where there's less strain and force. Next time you exhale through your left nostril, you can release your hand, taking it into the same mudra as the other hand. It's coming back to your even, relaxed breath. Feel free at this point, if you'd rather end your practice laying on your back, you're welcome to transition there for the last couple minutes. If you'd rather stay in the seated position, please do that. Do what your body, yourself is asking for in this moment. Either is perfectly good. Sense the ground, feeling your connection with it. Feel the space around you, feeling your connection with it. All the while, letting yourself rest in the rhythm of your breath. Allowing the breath to flow freely, spaciously within. So if you are sitting, let your hands start to move, even if you're laying down, I suppose. Wiggle through the fingers. Move through the wrists. Coming over onto your side if you're laying down, so you can come into a seated position again. And we can go for one last stretch. Let's reach the arms up, breathing in. And we'll exhale the hands together down in front of the heart to give thanks for our practice today. I thank you so much for being here. Namaste.